Okay, now we successfully connected to our API and we are pushing the data through the WebSocket. So we need now to handle the errors. If you remember, we added some catch for the error in case some error happen when requesting the data from the API. So for that, always you need to remember that handling the error is very important for your front end, because you can report to the front end what is the error can happen. So can display it as, for example, notification or some message or a pop-up. So for that, we need to handle the errors. But first of all, you need to know what to show to the user. So for example, here, I need to show something like, for example, if you remember, I told you that the API, we can use it only like we can send 20 requests per minute. So what if the requests get expired? Then it will show some error. So for that, we can show message to the user somehow and send it over the WebSocket. There are many different ways for showing the errors in the front end or in the WebSocket. So the easiest way that we can emit another message with object as well containing the error and the message itself. So for example, I have expired token now, expired like how, not to say token, but request, because as I told you, you are allowed only some specific amount of time. So I got some error, and as you see here, we have a lot of information returned because we console log that error. And here it says like, okay, that my data or my API got failed because it's returning 429. So in that case, I can return the status and also some error message to the user. But for easier implementation, if you don't want to show to the user what is exactly the error, you can just log it to your console in the Node.js or in the application or in the server side. And for the front end, you can send some message which says, like, for example, too many requests, or you don't have to say that. You can say, for example, request from the server failed, for example. So here you can show all of this information and send them as well over the WebSocket. So let's keep this console log, the error in the back end, and to the front end as well, we can send an object, like we can say, okay, socket handler.emit also to the crypto event. We can have an object as well, and this object will contain error, and then we can say true. We can have like something like that. If there is error, like in the front end, you can check it. If there is error, then okay, display some message. And the message is like, you can display message from the server, which is coming from the server, or you can display that message as you want and you build it in the front end. So we can here like error fetching prices data from API. So in that way, you can show that error to the WebSocket to send, to not be hanged or you don't know what's happening. So once the front end receive error true, then you can show a failure message and you can stop your application somehow and ask people for a reload. So in that case, you can learn how to handle errors in your application in just two cases, to hold or to cover all the states can happen when the application is running. And as a final advice, I advise you here to run this or set interval for development, like let's put it now on 20 seconds, just in case, because when you are developing and running the application, maybe you will have expired requests. So you will not be able to develop more, because as I told you that this Masari API is just doing for you like some specific amount of requests, like 20 requests per minute and 1000 per day. Otherwise, you need to contact them and have some subscription. But for now, let's do it in that way. And in the next lecture, we will see how we can expand our requests, like we can register and we can include some headers to our requests, so we can have then limits of 30 requests per minute. So we will learn in the next lecture how we can include headers in Axios for having more possibilities or more numbers of requests.